There we go.
Oh, that's good. So that's working. That speaker's working.
Oh, there we go.
There we are. So happy to be here. My name is Maddelana Romano, and my presentation for today is the real planets of sci-fi. So we're going to start with Star Wars, and just as an FYI, Star Wars happens to have the most diverse set of planets that you could see out there. Once we get to Marvel or Star Trek, a lot of them start to look like Earth, which is annoying. But we'll speed through those because we're going to spend more time talking about the planets when we talk about Star Wars planets. So we're going to start with, anyone want to guess which one we're going to start with?
Tatooine.
Of course we're going to start with Tatooine. Of course we are. So this is the best I could do with the scroll function. I tried to get it the other way, but both wouldn't work. So Tatooine, we have a desert planet, a lot of sand dunes. It has a binary system, so you can see twin suns. And there's obviously very little water, rugged settlements, frequent sandstorms, and it's in the outer rim. So let's look for an exoplanet that matches that. Who wants to guess which exoplanet or planets match Tatooine? Some of you may already know. There's one called the real Tatooine that people joke about all the time. Who wants to guess? You can guess online too. You can feel free to unmute. Oh, this is as bad as when I'm teaching my classes. Come on, people.
Kepler something.
It is a Kepler planet. It is Kepler 16b. All right? It is a Kepler. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of Keplers in here. So this is nicknamed the real life Tatooine. I don't know why, because yes, it's a stable binary system, but Kepler 16b is a gas giant. So it's not a desert planet at all. You can't have any type of habitation. And it is far from its stars, which means it's actually cold. It's located in the constellation of Cygnus, which is about 200 light years away from where we are right now. So yes, exoplanet, yes, binary star system. No, can't live there, but it's close. For some reason, they call it the real-life Tatooine. There is another, though. There is another. Come on, that was funny. No one chuckled at that one? Star Wars, there is another.
I am chuckling.
Okay, anyway. Bebop 1c also orbits 2 stars. Also a gas giant, so not a desert planet. This one is also in Cygnus, but it's 1,200 light years away from Earth. Cygnus, by the way, happens to have a lot of these planets. It just does. So everything is in the Swan constellation. So it is part of a multi-planet system. So unlike Kepler 16b, which was a single planet in the binary star system, Bebop 1c is a multi-planet system. So it's a binary star system with multiple planets. So what's the next Star Wars planet we're looking at? Who wants to guess?
Alderaan.
It's not Alderaan. It is Hoth. So we're looking at an ice-covered planet with constant snow and glaciers. It's extremely cold. There's frequent blizzards. It's very remote. Yes, the Rebel Alliance was there with their base, and yes, there was difficult terrain and conditions. I'm trying to leave the Star Wars stuff out and only talk about the terrain, but sometimes it's hard. So which planet, which exoplanet, or not even exoplanet, it could be within our planetary system, do you think most resembles Hoth? Come on, guess. You know your planets.
Pluto.
Not Pluto. Anyone I'll take another guess?
Triton?
What?
Triton? Neptune?
No. What?
Europa.
Europa. Yes. Very good, because Europa is the ice moon of Jupiter. Has a smooth, cracked surface. Does have extremely cold temperatures. So there's likely a subsurface ocean. Now the atmosphere is very thin. It's not necessarily breathable. It's highly radiative, and there are conditions for some sort of microbial life, not necessarily the big tauntauns that you see in Star Wars, but there's something. Most of its features are ice and ice ridges. So again, you can see the similarities here. But it is one of the most promising places to search for life beyond Earth because of its conditions, because of the water, because of the microbial Earth. And that's about 390 million miles away from us. So that's within our own solar system. The other one that could also be a good candidate for Hoth is, anyone want to guess? This is an exoplanet. Come on, we know our popular exoplanets, don't we?
No.
All right, fine. Ogle 2005, BLG 390. So also extremely cold. It's classified as a super Earth, but it's a gas giant, which is weird. So my point is that we're reaching for similar characteristics. So what could be considered a real life planet? I like Europa better than Ogle, but hey, here we go. Next, which one do you think we're looking at? Come on, popular Star Wars planets. Think of your movies. You could also, online, you could also suggest. No one's trying to, do we not? Come on, there's no Star Wars fans as part of the astronomy?
Endor.
Okay, all right, it is Endor. You're right. We're looking at Endor. So it's the forest-covered moon. It's got dense trees and vegetation. It's got a temperate climate. It orbits another gas giant. Well, it has villages built in the trees. So what planet do we think most likely might have something similar to Endor? There are a couple of candidates, but if we're thinking exoplanets, which one is the closest to something like Endor? And don't say Earth, because of course Earth, because everyone's using Earth as their model, but let's think exoplanet. Anyone want to give a chance? Anyone want to give it a guess?
I don't know too many exoplanets for trees.
All right, then maybe not an exoplanet. Well, that's just it. Don't think trees. Think about everything else, because you're not going to find trees. We don't know if there's trees on anything. And it doesn't have to be an exoplanet. It can be within our own solar
I
system.
don't know of an exoplanet with Ewoks on it either.
Well, yes, we don't know about anything besides microbial life, so we can't really test that. And if you're going to say the same thing when I get to Coruscant, I'm going to walk up and maybe smack you on the top of your hat. But the point is, if we're thinking about what planet could support this type of life, again, it could be an exoplanet, it can be within our own solar system, it could be a moon or a planet. What do we think? All right, we've waited long enough. Titan. So this is the moon of Titan around Saturn. So it's a large moon. It does have an atmosphere, and the atmosphere is mostly nitrogen. Nitrogen makes up a lot of our own atmosphere. Now, it is extremely cold, and the lakes and seas are made of methane and ethane, so not water. But it has dunes, it has rivers, it has icy terrain. It's the only moon that has any kind of dense atmosphere. So it's got a lot of prebiotic conditions. So it is very Earth-like in its structure, not in its chemistry, but in its structure. And it's about 746 million miles away from Earth. So it's close. There is another, again, so and I kind of gave this away before. So if not Titan, where else would you see conditions like you see on Endor? Does anybody else want to guess? Mars will come up later. I'm talking about ancient Earth, specifically Carboniferous Earth. Now, back during the time period about 359 to about 299 million years ago, again, we're talking about before the Jurassic, we're talking about before the big dinosaurs, when we had huge plant life, absolutely huge plant life. And vast swampy forests were carving these large areas. We had giant ferns. This is, again, we could use the same thing with Fallujah. Fallujah is not one of the planets that I cover, but again, Endor, same thing. And before anybody says it, no, I did not cover Kashyyyk either, because again, same thing. Kashyyyk is the home planet of, not the Kashyykians, come on.
Wookiees.
Wookiees, yes, the Wookiees, come on. All right, so it had high oxygen levels, giant insects. All of these things are things that we see if we watch Star Wars or Clone Wars or read the comics. All of this exists in the Carboniferous Earth time. So that's no longer exists. We can't go and see it unless we go to a museum and see a recreation. Next planet is, who wants to guess? Have we not?
Earthling? That's Earthling?
No, the next planet. We're going to move on to the next Star Wars planet. So which planet are we going to do? What? Okay, we're going to do Coruscant. Now, Coruscant is basically what's called an ecumenopolis. What's an ecumenopolis? It's on the screen. What's an ecumenopolis? The definition just passed right by you, by the way, in case you were not paying attention. An ecumenopolis is a planet where the whole surface is a city. That's an ecumenopolis. So in this particular case, we know of Coruscant as a center of the galactic environment, mostly republic and eventually then empire, densely populated with trillions of inhabitants, many different layers, artificial lighting, very little natural surface available, heavy air traffic, and highly developed infrastructure. So where do we know that could possibly mirror Coruscant? Well, you're not that far off because Earth is getting there. 60% of the Earth's surface is urbanized. So we're getting there. We do have abundant nature, so it's not all gone. But we do have, we're getting closer to those issues. We are synthesizing food in some places. We have mixed land use. We don't have a fully layered megacity and what have you. And we do have many nations. We don't have one centralized government. We have limited transportation. We don't have dense multi-level speeders flying everywhere. So we don't have that yet, but we are getting there in terms of the density of cities. Now, there is one other possibility if we stretch our imagination. There is Kepler 452b. Now, why? This planet is 1,400 light years away. Yes, it's in Cygnus. But how could we possibly know that there aren't cities? Well, we don't. We're only guessing here, but it is located in the habitable zone. It is 60% larger than Earth, so it could be a super Earth. It is maybe likely rocky. It has its year is basically 385 Earth days. It's really close. And it's older than we are. We are 4 billion. This is 6 billion years old. So could it be an ecumenopolis? No, it's unlikely. We don't know that. There's no evidence of life. However, fact is, if it's lived for 6 million years and it could support life because it's very similar to Earth, who knows? Maybe there are large cities and tons of urbanization there. We can't possibly know that because we can't possibly examine it from where we are. We're too far away to observe any surface details. But if it is habitable, the chances of it becoming an ecumenopolis would require advanced long-term civilization. Again, this is not something we know. This is a guess. Next planet. Which one are we doing? Who wants to guess the next planet we're going to do? Next Star Wars planet. We've covered so many different types. What kind haven't we covered yet? Guess. Come on. Guess online, too. Everyone, take a guess. Alrighty, I won't let you wait any longer. It's Mustafar. Mustafar is where Anakin Skywalker met his demise. He became Darth Vader, etc. It's a volcanic planet. Lots of flowing lava and magma rivers. It's extremely hot. The surface is unstable. Frequent eruptions and seismic activity. There is a toxic atmosphere. There's ashes, gas, and in this particular case, it has industrial mining facilities, and its skies are dark and smoky because of the constant volcanic glow. Now, unlike when we did Carboniferous Earth, we're not going to do prehistoric Earth because we know prehistoric Earth looked like this. But what other moon or planet, it could be within our solar system or outside of our solar system, do we know of that has all of these volcanic features?
Io.
Io. There we go. That's the one I chose. So Venus is a good choice, but I chose Io because it has the most volcanic activity in the solar system. So it's covered in lava flows and sulfur deposits. Covered. It has constant eruptions and massive volcanic plumes. In the volcanic regions, it's extremely hot. There is a thin atmosphere, which is mostly sulfur dioxide, so you really can't breathe there. Strong tidal heating from Jupiter, and it's a hostile environment to life, so it looks similar to that. There is an additional one that I'd like to present for your observation, and that is another Kepler. It's Kepler 10b. So this one is 560 light years away. And unlike many of the others that were in Cygnus, this one is in Draco. It's one of the first confirmed rocky exoplanets, and it orbits extremely close to its star. Now, here's the fun part. This is very Star Trekian, too. 1 year equals 1 Earth day. So it spins fast around its sun. The surface is likely molten, and there is no liquid water. It's extremely hot there. It's also much more dense than Earth. So,
What is the parent star?
what is the parent star? I don't know. If it's a Kepler and it's labeled 10b, the parent star is likely Kepler 10. So the planets are usually labeled with a letter after it, and the star is usually after what found it and then the number. So the stars are numbered.
I'm wondering if you knew the spectral class of the star that it's in orbit around.
That's an excellent question. Maybe someone else can look that up and tell me. My understanding is, we could have a look here. The spectral class of this star, I want to say, because this is Kepler 78b. It doesn't say. I should have added that particular bit of information as well. But Kepler 78b is back in Cygnus. This one is 400 light years. Again, it's about the size of Earth. It's close to its star. Its year it spins even faster. Its year is only 8 hours. So by the time we're done with our workday, it's done with its year. Did you figure it out?
It's a K-type star.
It's a K-type star. Okay. So, okay. So again, the surface is likely molten lava. It's tidally locked on one side. It's extremely hot on the daytime side. The nighttime side is cooler. So again, it's also very hostile to life. There are more. What about Korat B? See, we're finding a lot of stars that match Mustafar, which is kind of fun, actually. This one's 400 light years away, and it's in the constellation of Monoceros, so that's fun. It's not in Cygnus, like so many of the others. And this one is a confirmed rocky exoplanet. It's also extremely close to its star. A year is 20 hours. And it is tidally locked, which means you have a permanent side that's day and permanent side that's night. And you have lava oceans on the daytime side. It's possibly solid rock on the other side. And a very thin atmosphere. So we have a lot of great contenders for something that could be considered Mustafar, even though our planet is no longer close to that. Next, who wants to guess what's coming up next? no one loves, maybe I should stop doing that. No one's saying anything. How about Naboo? So here we have a planet that does resemble Earth again. So I'm not going to talk about the Earth portion of it so much as the underwater portion. So yes, we have a lush Earth-like planet with a temperate climate, a lot of biodiversity, including aquatic life, great cities, natural beauty, and but more importantly, an extensive subsurface ocean with a network of underground tunnels. It has travel possible through the planet's liquid core. Cities use energy shields to keep the water out. We have rich aquatic ecosystems, large dangerous sea creatures, bioluminescence, and strong pressure and hazardous deep water conditions. So anybody want to guess where we might have some similar type of situation? You might be thinking, wait, we don't even know if anything's habitable. How would we possibly know if there's an underwater living situation? I give you a hint. It's very similar to Earth. Who wants to guess?
Trappist 1E.
Well, the Aquarius Reef Base. So it's located in shallow clear water reef biome. And it is surrounded by coral and flora, has a lot of high visibility and natural light penetration. So basically, we're using a lot of glass domes and corridors to view everything that you can view. It's rich in bioluminescent plants and small marine life. Now, it's not deep ocean, so it's relatively safe. It's not an open ocean either, so again, much safer. And it has a lot of easy access to resources. It's powered by the sun because of its shallow depth. And it's a relatively calm environment. So what I'm basically trying to say is we as humans are experimenting with trying to live underwater. And this is the closest we can come to something like where the Gungans live on Naboo. Yeah. So where possible, I'm trying to take away, there's too many planets that look like Earth, so I'm trying to find something a little more interesting. So here we go. The next planet is Bespin. So some of us may not necessarily know what the planet Bespin is, but we do know about Cloud City, don't we? That's where, who lives in Cloud City? Oh my God. Come on, who lives in Cloud City?
I know Bespin is in Seattle.
It's not quite. Seattle doesn't have anything that goes up all the way past the clouds. Or it does. No, that would be really, really high.
Jetson? The Jetson?
Not the Jetsons, but I like where you're thinking. No, this is
Still Star Wars.
still Star Wars.
Lando.
Lando Calrissian, yes. So Cloud City is where Lando Calrissian is. It's where they capture Han Solo and then freeze him in carbonite for transport. I'm sure you all somewhat know this, but maybe you don't know it. My point being that it's a gas giant with no solid surface, but they're able to have some sort of floating city in the upper atmosphere, which can support life because the atmosphere there is breathable. And there's platforms suspended in that breathable altitude. And that particular economy is based on gas mining and refining, dramatic skies, and it's relatively isolated, but it is technologically advanced. That's the city. Now, here's the thing. Where could we possibly find a planet that has, within its many layers, breathable atmosphere? Anyone want to try to take a guess?
Venus?
No. I keep going there. I mean, it's not impossible, but what we're looking for is a gas giant. And yes, in this particular one, this is HD 28185b. It's very similar to Jupiter. And it does orbit a sun-like star. And it is located in the habitable zone. It's just far enough away from the star to make it habitable and not too far away to make it icy. So it's not going to be molten. It's not going to be icy. and it likely has stable atmospheric layers. So there is potential for some sort of Bespin-like concept. Granted, I don't know how far away the layer of breathable air, if there is a layer of breathable air, might be. And we could think of the same thing on Jupiter as well, or anything. Even, yes, if we were to think of the same thing on Venus, where would be the best place to build? I don't know, but here's an Earth-like planet with layers where this could possibly be built. Now, we'll move on to Alderaan, because someone mentioned this before. So Alderaan, again, is also much like Earth with a temperate climate, and also very advanced, known for natural beauty, etc. But it's also known for being destroyed by the Death Star. And that's what I want to concentrate on. So what event do we think I'm going to talk about next, which can most resemble the destruction of Alderaan? No?
Hiroshima.
Hmm?
Hiroshima.
Carrington event?
No, not Hiroshima. We're who?
Carrington event?
Well, I was going to focus more on WD 1145-017. Okay.
Obviously.
So this is a white dwarf that was discovered about, was it 2017? I wanted to originally use the one from 2018. Anyway, it's a white dwarf about 570 light years away, and it's in the constellation Virgo. So it's the first system that was observed with some sort of disintegrating planetary debris. So in a way, here we have a Death Star destroying a planet. It's not exactly the same. You don't get that great, boom and bang, whatever. But it's the only thing that comes even remotely close. So it has asteroids and comets being torn apart by the gravity. And it produces dust clouds that transit the star, which provide irregular dimming. That's how you know that something is being destroyed. So the atmosphere then becomes polluted with those heavy elements, and it gives an insight into the future of our solar system. So that's what eventually will happen to us as well. Next up is Camino. So Camino is an ocean-covered planet. This is the planet where all of the clones were made. And there's almost no land. It has constant storms, heavy rain. Cities are built on tall platforms above the water. It's gray, cloudy skies with little sunlight and violent seas. Anyone want to take a guess? Which planet?
Waterworld?
Waterworld. Well, there's only one Waterworld that they're actually know of or sort of suspect. And it's about 600 light years away. Again, in Cygnus, because for some reason, Cygnus is full of these. But it's Kepler 22b, and it's located in the habitable zone. It's larger than Earth, maybe about more than 2 times the size of Earth. And it's not confirmed, but it is likely a water world. It orbits a sun-like star. Its year is about 290 days compared to us. And its surface conditions are unknown. It could be covered with ocean. And it could be potentially suitable for life. Again, it's in the habitable zone. We don't know this yet. We haven't had time to observe it. All right, so we are technically now done with Star Wars, but we're also done with a list of planets that are habitable. And when we move into Star Trek and Marvel, I'm going to end up repeating myself. So what I'm going to do is just talk about the planets and then list a suggested planet that's really similar. There could be others, and you can disagree, and that's totally fine. But I figured rather than go through all the planets over and over again, we'll just talk about a few planets. So next, Star Trek. Now, like I said, we're going to repeat ourselves, but also Star Trek, if you're a fan like I am, way too many of the planets look like Earth. It's just, it's so hard to find something that's a little different. Also, please forgive me, but some of these images come from, if not the 60s, they're original art, or they're from 1994, so they might be a bit blurry. Apologies. We'll start with Vulcan. So Vulcan is the easiest one because it's desert-like. It has a thin atmosphere, harsh, rugged terrain, with a reddish sky, orbits a multi-star system. So the closest one we have is something like Kepler 10b. Some have suggested Mars. I like Kepler 10b a bit better. Use your own interpretations. But it does have extreme temperatures and a challenging living environment. So I would equate this with Tatooine. Tatooine I would equate with Kepler 10b. Next planet is Kronos, or Konos, the way that it was originally intended to be spelled. Rugged and mountainous, harsh climate with storms, dark skies. Now, it has cities on it. It's resource rich. The emphasis is on survival. I'm just going to go ahead and pick Kepler 42b because it could be another Earth. It could have more developed civilization because it's 2 billion years ahead. Who knows? Sure, why not? Next is Bajor. So Bajor is lush. It's also Earth-like. Again, Earth-like is going to be everywhere. For those of you that are not familiar with Bajor, it's the planet that focused chiefly in the series Deep Space Nine. And it is extremely Earth-like in everything. The closest is Kepler 22b, unless, of course, you're also going to be saying that it's Earth. So besides Earth, we could pick Kepler 22b. Beta Z. Again, this is a terribly blurry image. Sorry about that. But again, 1994, they didn't have high def. Again, warm, lush planet, abundant oceans and greenery, the home of Commander Deanna Troi. And it's the closest equivalent would be anywhere in the Earth's tropics. Next, we have Cardassia Prime. So if those that paid attention in Cardassia Prime, it is hot there. It's much warmer than it is on Bajor. It's harsh, resource scarce. It's gray landscapes, highly urbanized, limited natural beauty. It's the home of the Cardassians, which did occupy Bajor for a while. And the closest equivalent to this reddish planet that's very rugged would be something like, say, Mars, if we don't want to go back to Kepler 10b like we just did before for Vulcan. Now we have Ferenginar. Ferenginar, home of the Ferengis. Again, we're going to Deep Space Nine, but constant rain and thunderstorms, very humid, muddy and swamp-like, with thick cloud cover and little sunlight, dense urbanized areas. Again, the closest would be something like Titan. Again, remember, Titan could support life, might not support, it doesn't, chemistry-wise, maybe not, but that's pretty close. Next is Trill. And yes, I'm heavy into Deep Space Nine, but we had a lot of interesting characters on Deep Space Nine. So, again, an Earth-like planet, very lush, had subterranean pools and caves, and a lot of scenic environments. So, again, I'm going to choose Kepler 452b because could be Earth-like. It is in that zone of habitability, so sure, why not? Now, Ryza. This was such a cheat when they had Ryza. They just wanted to film in Hawaii. So that's the closest, is Earth's Hawaii, because it's literally just the tropics. It's literally just, and the most mildest possible tropics. And Hawaii is right there in the 20s. You have 12 hours per day. It's basically the perfect environment. So that's basically what they chose. Now we have Romulus. Also an Earth-like planet, sometimes depicted with a green sky. And it's a blend of natural landscapes and dense city. It was eventually destroyed by a supernova. The closest equivalent would be something like Earth combined with a Mars-like rugged environment. So maybe Mars before it lost its atmosphere would be the best way to. But then again, so was Cardassia Prime, so I don't know. And now Andoria. Now this is an ice planet. This is a little easier to pick an exoplanet from because it's covered in ice, has extremely cold temperatures, and frequent storms. Now again, remember, when it came to Star Trek, they didn't get very creative. There were maybe 340 some odd planets that were in the Federation. Maybe they talked about 130 throughout all of the series. About 17 or so were actually interesting. The rest were like, oh, it's Earth, it's Earth, it's Earth. There are all these Class M planets, which is super annoying. Andoria was an ice planet. So the closest you could come to Andoria was the home of the Andorians. Remember, blue, white hair, little antennae. And the closest is Europa because it's an ice moon. Next, we're moving on to Marvel. If this is going to start sounding repetitive, it is because, again, we're not that creative. We're just not that creative. Star Wars did the best. Star Wars was the best. The others, So we're going to move on to Asgard. So here we had a mythic realm. So not supposed to be like a real world, but sure. A golden city, home to the Asgardians, had a rainbow bridge and all that other stuff, advanced technology. The closest, again, let's pick Kepler 452b, because if we are going to have some sort of advanced society that can teleport people, probably several billion years into the future, because we don't know how to quite do that yet. Then there's Hala. Now, I'm not sure how into Marvel comics anybody might be, but Hala is the home of the Kree. We have seen the Kree in some TV series that are Marvel featured, rarely in some movies. They are typically blue-skinned. However, they've also cheated that and had some people that are normal-skinned as well. What they're basically saying is that, hey, you can be Kree, and you can be all these different colors, including blue. So, sure, whatever. So, the homeworld of the Kree is basically a highly advanced militarized civilization with a lot of large urban centers. So, again, I'm just going to pick 452b because if anything's going to be highly urbanized, it's going to be a planet that's older than we are that's also habitable. Then there's Sakaar. You may or may not recognize this one, but it was featured in Thor Ragnarok, which I have to say is one of the most awesome movies ever. It is just perfectly done. It's a perfect mix of action and funny. It's just great.
What's the name of the movie?
Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
It is just absolutely excellent. Not the least of which because it has Jeff Goldblum in it, too, who plays a fantastic part. But everyone plays such a great part.
When did that come out?
Oof. Ragnarok came out,
Years ago?
was it 2019?
I don't know.
No, earlier.
Earlier than 2019?
I want to say 16 or 17.
Someone look it up and tell me. I can't remember. I could have sworn it was 19, but I could be wrong. But it's a fantastic movie. It actually does attempt to explain who was right. It was 16? 17? 17. Okay, so 2017. So about 9 years ago. It actually does a good job of explaining Einstein-Rosen bridges rather than just calling them wormholes. So in this particular case, it's a chaotic junk world covered in debris and scrap with constant influxes of objects through these wormholes. So it's urbanized. And it's run by a Grand Master. In this particular case, it had gladiator arenas and a mix of tech and advanced salvageable stuff. So I picked Ogle 2005 BLG 309 LB. We could honestly pick, I could also have picked Kepler 452b. Honestly, this is just...
Trappist 1E2 is very Earth-like. So that's
Right, but the idea would be, where would we be? What planet would most likely have an advanced civilization? They could possibly have all of this junk. Maybe Earth, too. Maybe Staten Island. I mean, honestly, I'm kidding. But not by much. It's... we're not even that far away from having gladiatorial combat in some cases. So that's Sakaar. If you haven't seen any Marvel movies, watch Thor Ragnarok because it's awesome. It just is. Now, Xandar. Xandar is featured in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. It's an advanced Earth-like planet. Again, lots of cities, lots of technologies. So I'm going to basically say, again, Kepler 452b, because if you're going to have it, you're starting to see how what I'm saying, basically, they all resemble, if not Earth, then Kepler 452b, which could be more advanced than Earth because it's been around longer and it's habitable. So, yeah sorry, it does get boring, but we're almost done. We're almost done. Vormir. Now, Vormir is barren and desolate, lots of rocky cliffs and steep terrain. Dark and eerie, little to no visible life, remote and isolated. For those that don't know what Vormir was, it was in Avengers Endgame, and it was the location of the Soul Stone. That's where Black Widow lost her life, et cetera, if you follow. It's where the red... It's... Pardon?
I said spoilers.
Oh, yeah, well, okay, it's been out for over 10 years. If you don't know now...
It's a joke.
Okay, spoilers, my butt. Anyway, but it's also the home... All right, and this is the part that I object with. It's also the home in the movies of Red Skull. Now, in the comic books, Red Skull did not live there. They just wanted to have the actor back. So, okay, I mean, he's a great actor, but fine. So the closest equivalent I could come up with that wasn't repetitive was maybe Mercury, because it is desolate and barren. Speaking of desolate and barren, we have Titan, not the moon. This is the planet Titan from Marvel. I do not know if this planet was invented before we named Saturn's moons. Probably not. But the point is, this is what Stan Lee came up with for names. And it was a formerly advanced Earth-like world that's now ruined and desolate. The closest I could think of is Mars. That's the closest I could think of. Then we have Morag. Again, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's mostly water covered, with periodic tidal flooding and receding. It's a harsh and it's unstable. It's sparse. It's a remote world. This was featured in the very beginning of the very first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. It's where, Star-Lord is dancing around and finds the Power Stone. The most equivalent to this icy world is Europa. And at this point, I am finally done. Now, there are other planets in all of these worlds. I left out some of the more fanciful because there are no equivalents. Happy to take any questions. I'm not going to know that much about, unless you're asking me questions about Star Wars. I'm not going to necessarily be able to know more about the planets than I've already told you. But feel free. Any questions anyone has, I'm happy to hear.
Maybe unshare your screen and we can see who's out there
Sure.
who wants to put their hand up or something. That'd be great.
I'll end the slideshow. And I can maximize the screen so that we can see. Does anyone have... what about... Oh, you can see the notes? That's weird. That doesn't matter if you can see the notes.
They were good, they could see the notes, but they decided not to answer the questions because that would be unfair.
Okay, well, you'll have to excuse me because I was just going off of what could be seen here on the screen, and I'm hoping that